It's Sunday, August 9th, 2020. This is All About Your Benjamins and your weekly mixtape and week in review video. I actually have to be honest, today is actually August 8th that I'm recording this, only because from last night to this morning there were some new headlines that came out that we'll address today. But just in case you get this on Sunday and there's some new news that comes out that I didn't have a chance to include, this is actually be recording on the 8th for the 9th again, so this video is ready for you first thing in the morning. So with that being said, let's get to the headlines that may or may not be impacting your financial plan and your portfolio. And there's not really a lot on my agenda for tonight. So first, just want to talk jobs. We've been talking about the employment picture for a while. I think it's very important, and just from a personal standpoint, I'm very concerned about the disconnect between white collar jobs and blue collar jobs and service jobs. And so I just want to keep an eye on that because I think that has a big impact on the economy, obviously, and just want to be paying attention to what it is just so we can be aware. So last week, 1.2 million Americans claimed unemployment. So the jobless claims actually went down, still very high, obviously, but it went down. This is leading up to one of the things we're going to talk about here in a couple of minutes, the ending of the additional unemployment payment of $600 a week. Did that impact that or not? No one's really going to know. We'll see. Maybe these numbers change again as another bill was signed over the last night. But I'm not so sure that I'm in the camp that people are milking this for all they can. Sure, there are some people, but I don't think that the tick down had to do with the extended benefits being ended last month. I think you still see COVID slowing things down. We just started school this week. Our school corporation is 100% virtual. Other school corporations are 50%. So there's still the impact from what's going on, and I think that it's still just slow to rehire in certain areas of the economy. With sticking with jobs, we talked about 1.2 million on claiming jobless last week. Unemployment fell to 10.2%, and we added 1.8 million jobs in July. So continuing to see what that looks like. We're adding more jobs. That was ahead of what they anticipated. Unemployment's still at 10.2%, but not as what it was at its highs. So the numbers are coming down. We just got to continue to watch it. Hopefully we're not doing this every week. Hopefully the trend continues to go and I can back off of it. But again, those are a couple of the bigger economic data points that came out this week, and I think it's just worthwhile to pay attention to it and understand it, because if these numbers stay high, 10% unemployment, I think that the economy will struggle to get back on trend where it needs to be, where we want to see it to be. So it's worth paying attention to, and those of us that are still able to work, just to allow us to count our blessings a little bit more and be appreciative of the situations that some of us find ourselves in. All right, so let's talk about that unemployment benefit that ended. The first article I'm still going to keep on here was from Friday, and that there was no action, or there's no agreement between the Democrats and the White House with the coronavirus package being extended or a new one being brought. So there was no agreement between the two sides. So what ended up happening last night, which is why I'm adding this now, is that President Trump signed an executive order extending some of the pandemic relief, even without Congress having the deal. So I'm going to read this because I just saw it this afternoon. There's going to be, the executive orders were expanding the economic relief to Americans struggling. They're going to be extending the unemployment benefits, a payroll tax holiday, deferring student loan payments through 2020, and an extension of the federal moratorium on evictions. So the big thing is that's going to impact more people than not is the extended unemployment benefits will not be $600 a week. It'll be $400 a week, but still enough to help those people that are struggling right now. That was the big area that people were deciding on. I did not see any extra stimulus check in this executive order. This may be just to be buying more time for Congress to figure some things out and get both sides to agree to a longer term bill that may include something like that. But there is something I passed last night, the executive order, and the biggest thing that people are probably going to talk about is that $400 extra a week that comes down from $600. My 2 cents, I would rather go from $600 to $400 than $600 to $200 to nothing, because for those people who really are struggling and have nowhere to go and they've been using that $600 to get by, to take it all away at once is a big struggle. So glad to see that something went through. Would have loved to have seen both parties get together and actually accomplish something, but here we are, and we had to have an executive order get passed. That's it for the big economic things. I wanted to end with something that I thought was pretty exciting last week. Growing up, At one point in time, I wanted to be an astronaut. I think all little kids want to be an astronaut and fascinated with space. We watched the SpaceX capsule come back to Earth and splash down in the ocean. So the boys and I watched that on Sunday. A little article about that was pretty cool. Cool to think about where things are, seeing the inside of the capsule versus what we've seen in the past. It looked very modern compared to the old dated things we saw from the NASA videos when we'd go up with NASA. So I enjoyed that. Not really anything major to impact what we're doing, but just something to break from coronavirus and all those other things. So that is it for this week's Week in Review video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Head over to allaboutyourbenjamins.com for this week's mixtape with a lot of great blog posts and some new names on there, trying to spread the love to more advisors that don't always make it onto the mixtape, to make sure those great advisors are being heard from as well. So you'll see some new names, and they'll hopefully be showing up more often as well. So have a great weekend, and we'll see you in the next episode.